My name is Ruth Noseworthy. In the late 1930s, I was going to Jefferson Union Elementary School in the country in Santa Clara Valley, California. Besides doing our farming and ranching chores and schoolwork, we were all excited about the 1939 World's Fair that was being prepared for in San Francisco. Europe seemed worlds away. Occasionally, during a Saturday afternoon movie on the Movietone News in those days, before television, I would see someone like Neville Chamberlain, Prime Minister of England, talking about the Germans' intention of marching across Europe. Also in the news, I saw the German Siegfried Line, an enormous underground cement bunker that faced the French Maginot Line, which had traps for tanks and was supposed to be invulnerable. It seemed impossible that the Germans could cross the French border. Besides, we were more interested in cartoons than the news. It wasn't until I was in the 7th grade that the conflict in Europe made an impression on me. It was then that I heard the Germans had marched into Czechoslovakia. It seemed unfair to me. The Germans were taking these people's country away from them. December 7th, 1941. As Franklin Roosevelt said, it was a day of infamy. I was 15 years old and getting ready to go to work as an usherette at the local movie theater when a friend of the family came by and told us to turn on the radio. I was stunned by the news. No one talked of anything else that day, but it took several weeks before I realized the full seriousness of the situation. I became very active through the school, selling war bonds and stamps. My dad was a block warden and had to check everyone's home in the neighborhood to make sure they had their blackout curtains drawn at night so that no light could be seen by enemy planes. My mother kept track of our ration books. Many foods like butter, sugar, and meat were difficult to obtain, and each item was worth so many points or stamps. Gas for cars was rationed. And because there was a shortage of tobacco, I recall my dad often being late for work because he spotted and followed a truck that was delivering a pitifully small allotment of cigarettes. I was sending letters and packages to several friends in the service. I wrapped vitamin pills individually in wax paper so they would not melt all together in the South Pacific heat for my cousin Frankie. He was later killed on an island by a sniper. By the time I was 17 years old, there were trainloads of troops coming through Santa Clara Valley before being shipped out to the Pacific Theater. Railroad cars filled with servicemen were often left on side tracks, while more important trains were sent through. These military men were not allowed to leave the train. There was a mom and pop grocery store nearby, so I would take a nickel tablet and a tote bag and walk along these cars with servicemen crowded at the windows, taking orders and their money for candy, cigarettes, gum, potato chips, whatever mom and pop might have. Then I would return their items in a huge basket with their change. These young boys were from everywhere in the country. I had never been out of California, so I was surprised at the many different dialects they spoke. There was the slow southern drawl, and using words honey and sugar so easily while speaking to a girl. And the boys from the city, like New York or Chicago, seemed so egotistical, in my opinion, while the boys from the Middle West small towns seemed so polite and nice. Then there were the Ozark boys, with a colloquialism like, quote, "She was as nervous as a cat in a room full of rockers," unquote. The Texas drawl was different from the West Virginia drawl. The boys from Massachusetts with their flat R sound I found difficult to even understand. However, all of the men on the trains without exception treated me with the utmost respect. One day I recall I was told there were a couple of cars that had been sidetracked for days. As I visited them, I became aware they were all in need of a good wash, and they didn't expect to leave for another 12 hours or more. I suggested they might sneak out 5 at a time to shower at my house. I can see in my mind's eye today their happy expressions of joy and delight. It soon turned into a festive occasion. My parents were not at home, and about 25 soldiers had taken showers when my parents returned, finding every towel they owned hanging outside on the clothesline and 5 men in various stages of dressing or undressing in their home with their daughter. Needless to say, Daddy was not pleased. However, he was courteous and shook the young men's hands as they left. And then I was told in no uncertain terms that there was a limit to what I could do for the war effort. May 8, 1945, was the date of the surrender in Europe. VE Day, meaning Victory in Europe Day. We nearly went wild with elation. There were horns blowing, bells and factory whistles to be heard, and people out in the street crying and hugging and laughing. I do not remember much of that day, except it ended with several of us going to church. August 6, 1945, was the day the atomic bomb was dropped over Hiroshima. On August 9th, the second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. At the time, it was difficult for me to understand the extent of the devastation, but I agreed with President Truman's decision to use it to shorten the war, and it did. Shortly after the dropping of the bombs, we celebrated VJ Day, meaning Victory over Japan Day, another wild day of celebration. I remember parading in the street, but not much else. But I do know that we all reflected in our own ways about what we had been through.